This is the surface area of pyramids. Today we're going to be looking at two pyramids. The first is a square pyramid, which is a pyramid with a square base. It looks like this. It has a square base, and all of the sides leading up to that top vertex are triangles. If I want to take a look at the two-dimensional version of my square pyramid, the net, it would look like this. A square base in the center with an identical triangle off of each side. All four of these triangles are identical. So when I go to find the surface area of my square pyramid, I'm going to first draw a net. So I see a square base here, so I'm going to draw my square base and then my four triangles off of each side of my base. Okay? Now I'm going to label my base and all of my sides here. I've got 5 total sides. I'm going to find the area of each of these sides. First, I'm going to do the square. The square, it shows us, has a side of 7, but since squares, all the sides are the same, I'm just going to do 7 times 7. My length times width will be 7 times 7. Then I have to do the triangles. To find the area of a triangle, I do base times height divided by 2. So the base of each triangle is 7 because it's 7 all the way around that bottom square. So the base is 7, the height of a triangle is 10, and I'm going to divide by 2. That gives me 35. Now since every single triangle is identical, I'm basically doing the same formula for every single triangle. The last thing I have to do is find the sum of all of these sides, because surface area is the sum of all of the sides. So I'm adding up 49 and 35, 35, 35, and 35. So I have 29 here. And 18 here. So 189 centimeters squared is the surface area for this square pyramid. Let's try another example. So again, I'm going to draw my net. I have a square in the middle with 4 identical triangles on each side, and I'm going to label them. So first I'm going to find the side of the square. This time the square is a 4 by 4 square, so I'm doing 4 times 4. For one of the triangles, the base is 4 and the height is 3.6, and since it's a triangle, I'm doing base times height divided by 2. Now this one has a decimal. I suggest using your calculator if you have a tricky one here. So 4 times 3.6 divided by 2, and I get a total of 7.2. Now I'm basically doing the same formula for every single triangle. So since I already know it's going to be 7.2, I know I wrote them all out over here, but I'm just going to put down 7.2 for each of these. In my pyramid, all of my triangles are going to be identical. So I'm adding 16 and 7.2, 7.2, 7.2, and 7.2. So here I get 8. I'll bring down my decimal. 34 and 44.8 inches squared is my surface area for my second square pyramid here. The next shape that we're going to look at is the triangular pyramid. Very similar to the square pyramid, the only difference is it has a triangle bottom. The bottom triangle is an equilateral triangle, which means all of the sides of the base triangle are exactly the same. Similar to a square, which has all 4 sides the same, an equilateral triangle, all 3 sides are the same. Now these triangles that are leading up to our vertex here, they're a little different than the base triangle, but they themselves, all the ones leading up to the top, will also be identical. If I draw the net, the two-dimensional version of that pyramid, it's going to look like this, with the equilateral triangle in the center and then 3 identical triangles along the outside. So let's try this first guy. So I have an equilateral triangle in the center, and then I've got my 3 triangles off of that guy. So I'm going to label them 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the first one is the guy in the center, the equilateral triangle, and that guy has a side of 9 and a height of 8. So I'm doing 9 times 8 divided by 2, and I get 36. Now I'm going to do the triangles that go up towards the top point. These guys, they have a base of 9 and a height of 7. Divided by 2, because it's a triangle. So this gives me 63 divided by 2 gives me 31.5. So my other triangles leading up to the top, triangles 3 and 4, will also be 31.5. So now I have to add up all 4 of my sides to get the total surface area. So 36 and then 31.5 3 times. So I get 130.5 inches squared for my surface area for that first triangular prism. Let's take a look at one more. So I'm going to draw my net. Did a better job of drawing this one. I'm going to label my sides. So I'm going to start with the base, which has a side length of 6 and a height of 5.2. So I'm doing 6 times 5.2 divided by 2. And I'm going to use my calculator for this one. So 6 times, oops, I wrote this wrong. 5.2 divided by 2. Sorry, that was 5.2. And I get a total of 15.6 for this side. Now I'm going to do one of these outside triangles. Those are these guys going up. So still going to have a base of 6. Everywhere around this bottom triangle, it's 6. And a height of 8. 6 times 8 divided by 2. And I get 24. The other 2 triangles on the outside will also be 24. So for my total, I'm adding up 15.6, 24, 24, and 24. And I get 87.6 feet squared for the surface area of my second triangular pyramid.